Hello and welcome. You're watching Head to Head. I'm Carrie Oderman with UATV. Ukraine's High Anti-Corruption Court officially started its work on September 5th. Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky said the court should aim not just to hand out appropriate punishments, but also to restore the trust of citizens in the judicial system as a whole. Since the start of the work of the High Anti-Corruption Court, 57 criminal proceedings and 524 complaints and petitions have been received. And the first court hearings have already taken place. To talk more about this, we welcome to our studio today Yevgen Kruk, Deputy Head of the High Anti-Corruption Court of Ukraine. Thank you so much for taking the time to visit with us today. Now, legislation's been passed that's revamped the responsibilities of this court. Let's take a step back for people that aren't familiar with the situation in Ukraine. What changed with this new legislation and this new court?
A year ago, on the 7th of June, former President of Ukraine signed the law of Ukraine on High Anti-Corruption Court of Ukraine, and the procedure started regarding the competition of the judges. It started on beginning of August. There were 30 days for preparing the documents, and the peculiarity of this competition was that not only the judges could pass the exam or this competition, but also the attorneys and academics. Attorneys with 7 years of experience and academics with the same experience for 7 years. For example, me personally prepared the documents for within 2 weeks. My documents weighted 9.7 kilograms. It was 1,500 pages. So for me to testify that I have the experience of 7 years. On November, we passed the written test and the practical test. Together, it was approximately 340 people filed the documents for the competition. Only 270 people tried the exams. I want to note that it was approximately 10 people for one place, because the competition was appointed for 38 people, for 30 judges, 27 judges in the first instance, and 12 judges in the second appellate chamber, so-called. After the written test, we had only approximately 120 candidates. After practical test, it was reduced on 20 people more. It was approximately 100 people, 110. After that, there was a psychological test. It consisted of 6 practical tests, and we talked to psychologists every. After that, our documents were revised by PCIA. I want to explain what is PCIA.
Please.
The PCIA this is a Public Council of International Experts. There is no country in the world.
I was going to ask about this.
I know. There is no country in the world that had any international expert to revise the judges on such high positions. And there was experts from Canada, Lithuania, United Kingdom. So
lots of European and one North American. Can I interrupt you for a minute?
Please.
Because this is such a unique structure to have international experts, they were overseeing, and were they offering legitimacy for the international community because there's been such criticism over corruption in Ukraine?
These candidates were proposed by international organizations in the sphere of anti-corruption. They proposed at least every organization proposed at least 2-4 candidates, and then High Qualification Commission of Judges of Ukraine chose these six candidates in the PCIA.
Okay, and so as the candidates were going through the process, towards the end of the process, the PCIA overlooked how many? The last third, the last 100?
Approximately 110. They had only 30 days to consider the cases, and they were working all day and all night. And the problem, for example, with not the problem, but the speciality, is that they had the possibility to veto every candidate. If three members of this PCIA veto any candidate without no explanations, Just they go to the chamber, they consider it secretly, and we don't want this candidate, and they don't need to explain it. And for example, there was 110 candidates. They brought to consider 49. They had questions to 49 candidates, almost 50%.
So 50% were...
No, there were questions to 50%, exactly 49, and only 7 from these 49 went on the competition on.
Okay.
So approximately 40-45% were vetoed by the PCIA. After that, all the candidates had talked to the High Qualification Commission of Ukraine, and on the 6th of March there was the results of this competition. All the process were broadcasted via internet, YouTube, or written test, practical exam, not the psychological tests. All these PCIA. All these High Qualification Commission explanations were broadcasted. So every person, you can just type my name and you would see what I was asked within an hour.
I have a question about how this was done, because the international experts, could they necessarily speak Ukrainian?
No, of course not. They all of them were English speaking. Most of them, I think half of them were native English speakers. And they had translators. I don't know how they worked because I was not there. Oh. But as I understand, every person, for example, there was made an internet website, and there were candidates. There's 100 candidates, and any person throughout the world could go on this website and send any information or explanation regarding the candidate. I don't know whether they received regarding me something. But any person could send email with attachment explaining that this person is not honest, that there is problems with his integrity.
So there was a very transparent system, and now you're ready to start work. Can we talk about some of the top cases that are coming in?
Just a second. We were appointed on the mid of April by the former president. And on the 7th of May, we hold the first meeting of judges, and we decided to start working on the 5th of September, within 4 months. Why such long period? Because we had no staff at all. We only have 6 persons, but the staff is approximately 300. We had to make, again, the competitions for our secretaries, not for the assistants, but the secretaries. For instance, the last competition was on the 3rd of September. So we start to work on 5th of September. On the 3rd of September, we still had the competition. We have no IT technologies. We had no actually premises to start on. And only on the mid of July, we signed the lease agreement. And now we have three temporary premises, one on Chryshatik Street, one on Prospect Peremogi Street, and one on and the appellate chamber is situated on Provulok Christovy. Regarding the top cases, as you mentioned on the beginning, we started on the 5th of September, starting operating, and already on the 5th of September, we received the cases and the petitions for the investigative judges, because we should divide investigative judges. We have now 9 investigative judges, and the rest 18 judges in the first instance who just hear the cases. And the first case was tried by me, because on the 5th of September I was going also after the end of the day I was going to some broadcast company, and the chancellor calls me and they say, you have already a case. We congratulate you on the first case for the anti-corruption, of the High Anti-Corruption Court of Ukraine. We hear, of course, approximately we would receive within this month and the next few weeks we would receive approximately 200 cases from National Anti-Corruption Bureau and the Special Anti-Corruption Prosecutor Office. These cases all are top profile. There's Approximately, the damage caused is more than half a million of hryvnias.
Now, how do you define top profile? Is it the amount of money? Is it the personality? Is it their relevance in politics and society?
Personalities who are engaged and the damage and the amount of damage. No, if to say not legal language, it is damage and the personalities.
So now it looks like you have over 500 files, and you have a lot to do. How are you going to make sure that you get this done in a amount of time that makes the public trust that you'll get the job done?
I would say that we have a very young team. We have 38 judges at the moment. More than half of them, if I'm not mistaken, 22 judges, are approximately between 32 and 39 years.
Which is common in government now in Ukraine, right?
But not in the judicial system. And the rest is approximately between 40 and 45. And we passed very thorough, very difficult exams, including psychological tests, and we have ability and powers to manage any problem, to face it. And it is guaranteed by salary. We would have, at the moment we don't have, but we're in the process of receiving 24/7 security of the judges and their families and their premises. Then,
just to put that plainly, to make sure that the people that have already proven to have a white vest and are now judges with no history of corruption, they're now working for the court. They're being paid adequately, so there's no danger of corruption there. And your families and yourselves are being offered protection,
yes,
so there's
correct.
no threat there, just to keep everything above board. Are there any other measures?
For example, our lifestyle is monitored by the public organs. It is not only our electronic declarations, but also the way of our life and the people who we speak to. So I think this is one more guarantee that we would not be influenced anyway. So not physically, not mentally.
It's obviously been a very, very transparent system, and this was necessary. Have you noticed now in this short time since you began your work at the beginning of September, the reaction internationally to the new court?
At the moment, we have full support from international organizations, from European Union, from American Embassy, Canada. So at the moment, I think there is no scandals or any problems with our how we deal. I would say it's too early to say something because it's less than a month we've been hearing the cases. We still been renovating the court premises, but where we hear the cases, the courtrooms, exactly. Because we just have within our judges we have a queue where who is hearing the case first, and we have at the moment we have three courtrooms, and starting from Monday we would have 5 courtrooms. So we would be hearing cases more often. For example, if in other courts the case could be tried once 2-3 months or once in 4 months, I was trying a case every 7-10 days. It's normal.
Well, you've got a big caseload ahead of you, but you've got a team of young, dynamic civil servants. We wish you the best.
I would, if I may, I would add, for example, regarding our teams, because we have at least 40% of attorneys or academics. So there is full trust from all legal society. And we are hearing the cases in the panel of 3 judges, not 1 judge, but 3 judges. And for example, usually we have at least 2 judges and 1 academic or 1 attorney. In my panel we have 1 judge. She has 7 years experience of the judge. I'm an attorney. I have 13 years of legal experience, and we have a professor, academic. So we are ready to face any problem.
It's exciting news, and it's a step forward for Ukraine, definitely. Thank you for your time today. That was Yevgen Kruk, Deputy Head of the High Anti-Corruption Court of Ukraine. Thank you for watching, and stay tuned for more with UATV.